No Rest for the Wicked looks very promising, one of the rare games that got me excited as soon as I've seen the gameplay, which has become almost a non-existent feeling for me lately. First time I've ever heard and seen anything from No Rest for the Wicked was yesterday, and had to do a video about it immediately. Reason is that this game is exactly what I've been rambling on for some time now about isometric and top-down hack and slash games, and that is how combat is severely outdated in all Diablo-esque type games with drastic changes needed. Only time I actually felt engaging combat in Diablo-esque genre in the last decade is with games with a different take on the genre, like The Ascent, Darksiders Genesis and Lost Ark from the games that I've played. While some of the Diablo-esque games are superior in terms of character progression systems, something like The Ascent, Darksiders Genesis and Lost Ark is far superior in gameplay. Static combat of the genre hasn't evolved at all since Diablo 2, with occasional add-on like dodge that has its own cooldown. To me, hack and slash Diablo-esque games have by far the worst gameplay out of all the genres. Ability spam and visual effect jizz on the screen with massive numbers of enemies where the player doesn't even know what the hell is going on for the most part. All about the auras and the spam. However, instead of evolving significantly, such games have focused more on the repetition system and slowing down progression behind major grind, because they don't have anything else to offer. Gameplay is weak, stories are subpar usually, main character feels as a ghost in the whole story, and of course random affixes on gear that make the grind suicidal with some of these games. What a waste of time. So to see something like No Rest for the Wicked enter the scene is truly special because it combines two aspects that I absolutely adore, isometric view with Souls-like combat. Goddamn match made in heaven, and it looks amazing. Gonna skip over the fact how beautiful the environment looks and jump to gameplay instantly. Look at this. One enemy at a time for the most part. That's what developers have said they are focusing on when it comes to map progression. Not groups of enemies, but more meaningful fight after fight. Fantastic. More quality per fight than quantity. Problem is that if they screw up AI, then fights are gonna become way too predictable and boring. Hopefully different enemy types are approaching the combat in vastly different ways with modified AI. With typical Diablo-esque games, lack of AI and quality enemy encounters is offset by sheer numbers. That reduces satisfactory feeling per kill, but instead creates satisfaction by killing groups of enemies. It is very satisfying killing a ton of enemies, but to get to that point usually there are a bunch of useless and meaningless fights with kiting needed to put them into place before the big bang. In No Rest for the Wicked, each encounter attempts to create that same satisfaction by defeating a capable enemy that isn't just HP sponge with ridiculous attack damage. I wouldn't mind if they mix groups with single encounters, as that offers different types of challenge, but what I mean by group of enemies is something like 3 to 5, not 100. Let's see what I do in the end, but I like where their head is. Look at this boss fight and how it plays out. It is fantastic how each move becomes relevant and how positioning plays a huge factor. Animations are top notch, tracking in attacks is minimal. Moving slightly to the side before enemy attacks increases the chance of dodging the attack altogether, which is only possible if tracking in attacks is done right. Impact with each strike is felt nicely. So many good things to look forward to. One thing I've noticed that I don't like in a more realistic combat approach game like this is the fact that blocking doesn't have its own stutter animation. When a giant entity like the boss in this video strikes the player, there should be some kind of reaction. Minor thing, I know. It is going to be interesting how story and map progression is done. Is it going to be a mission type thing or fast travel across the whole world? Is it going to be more catered towards single player or multiplayer? It would be better if it is done with single player in mind, but with multiplayer as an option for a different experience. That would ensure more design quality. Also, is it going to focus more on repetition or New Game Plus method? Repetition is catered more towards multiplayer design, while New Game Plus more towards single player. Builds and weapon diversity are going to be crucial. Sword and shield gameplay looks fantastic, but I would love to see many diverse playstyles. Dedicated mages, assassins, archers and whatnot. Isometric game like this would benefit a lot from different races, but I know we are not getting that. Just imagine if No Rest for the Wicked had something like werewolves, vampires, leeches, ogres, goblins or anything of the sort as playable characters. Or like in the good old days, we could unlock such creatures after beating the game, which would add insane replayability if they had their own character progression and playstyle. There are so many crazy good options for a game like this, and one day I hope we get to a point of realizing proper race and playstyle diversity. Until that happens, I hope No Rest for the Wicked is gonna show everyone how to do isometric top-down hack-and-slash action RPGs in a much different and better way, with focus on engaging gameplay and not mindless repetition.